Salamat berjumpa lagi. Welcome to ASEAN Today. I'm Dalton Tananaka of Indonesia's Metro TV at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Sarah Rabiatul Kamid of the Brunei Times in Bandar Seri Begawan, and this is your monthly look at the dynamic Southeast Asia region. We begin at the 22nd ASEAN Summit here in Brunei, where leaders of the 10 member countries gathered in the first two leaders meeting this year. ASEAN Today's Zelda Zavitri has the highlights.
It was all smiles when leaders attended the opening dinner of this elite group of 10 on April 24th. ASEAN holds two summits each year, with the first one involving only member states. A second gathering includes dialogue partners such as Russia and the United States. As expected, attention here focused on two high-profile matters, which the leaders tackled the next working day. The territorial conflict in the South China Sea involves 4 ASEAN members and powerhouse China, which lays claim to most of the busy shipping lanes and fishing grounds. The summary statement of the ASEAN chair emphasized keeping the peace and avoiding any possibility of military action.
And we all agree to encourage continuing discussion, dialogue and consultation at all levels, especially among claimant countries, and to keep the lines of communication open.
We should really be thankful that in the whole of the ASEAN is willing to discuss this instead of putting it on the back burner. But I think it's already a help. It's one of the priority areas, and nobody has objected, and everybody was listening and discussing it. So that I think is a step in the right direction.
All 10 members called on China to agree to a code of conduct in the region, but despite little response from the neighbor to the north, ASEAN analysts say it's in China's best interest to conclude the COC.
Well, actually, there is a lot of incentive for China to sit down, because otherwise China would lose the goodwill that it has worked so hard to gain in the past 10 years.
The other major agenda item was the status of the group's planned integration in 2015. Leaders heard that 77% of the blueprint for the ASEAN Economic Community has already been implemented. Total trade in ASEAN grew nearly 17% to $2.4 trillion in 2011, with foreign investment jumping 23% to a record $114 billion in the same period. Analysts say that means the AEC must be prepared to maximize the global attention. Zelda Savitri for ASEAN Today.
The second summit of the year is set for October when Brunei turns over its chairmanship to Myanmar.
It was a busy month leading up to the summit. Brunei's Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah was in Manila in mid-April to meet with Philippine President Benigno Aquino. Among the issues discussed was the conflict between several ASEAN countries and China over territory and sovereignty rights in the South China Sea.
As ASEAN chair for this year, Brunei will continue to work closely with the Philippines towards achieving concrete outcomes in economic growth and social progress, and in promoting regional peace and stability.
The Philippines is pushing for a rules-based approach in handling the dispute and has challenged China's claims in an international tribunal. ASEAN Secretary General paid his first formal call on Indonesia's president since taking the job in January. Lulong Min expressed appreciation of Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono's support for ASEAN's planned economic integration in 2 years. Also discussed at the April 8th visit at the presidential palace here in Jakarta was the need for adoption of a code of conduct to resolve the territorial issue in the South China Sea. And privately owned newspapers hit the stands on April 1st for the first time in 50 years. The government had announced in December that any Myanmar citizen wishing to publish a daily newspaper was welcome to apply for a permit. 4 dailies are now available in the Burmese language, ranging in price from 20 to 25 cents.
The Philippines is hoping to become the new Macau in the opening of high-end gambling palaces. As ASEAN's Today Valdia Baraputri reports, operators are hoping to hit the jackpot.
It stands tall and shiny in a 100-hectare complex overlooking Manila Bay. Solaire is the first of 4 casino resorts in the Philippines' new entertainment city project. It was opened in March, a test of whether Manila can deliver on promises of better profit margins and lower costs than Asia's gambling mecca of Macau.
So when we talked to Filipinos here, we said, what do you want? And they said, we want a Las Vegas. And we said, okay, what does that mean? And they said, we want to see beautiful cocktail waitresses serving free drinks. Okay, we want to see lots of entertainment. We want it to be flashy and fun, and we want a big vibe going on.
Soler is owned by the country's third richest man, Enrique Razon. The $1.2 billion casino is projected to lift the country's gaming revenue to $3 billion by 2015, up from $2 billion this year. Target customers are rich Filipino and Chinese gamblers.
This will be a very positive step toward making Manila one of the gaming destinations on par with Las Vegas, Macau, Singapore.
The Macau-based Melco Crown Entertainment Group also signed a deal in Entertainment City in partnership with the SM Group. The project is Melco's first casino outside its home base Macau and one of the biggest Chinese investments in the Philippines.
I think it says something that Manila is the first outside jurisdiction that Melco Crown is pursuing in Asia. So we think the time is right and the market potential is excellent.
450 of Soler's employees had previously worked in casino overseas, hired by parent company Boomberry Resorts to work in the new establishment. The biggest visitors so far are the Chinese, followed by South Koreans, Americans, and Japanese. Soler is also hoping to attract Taiwanese and Southeast Asian vacationers.
Number one, everyone here speaks English. That's most definitely a plus factor. Number two, you cannot match the courtesies of the Filipino people. It's unbeaten worldwide.
But gambling is only the opening attraction. A second phase to the casino is set to open next year, featuring an all-suite hotel tower, an 1,800-seat theater, a nightclub, and high-end retail stores. Valdia Baraputri for ASEAN Today.
More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
On the road to ASEAN integration, it could be a bumpy path. ASEAN expert DEWI ANWAR is in the hot seat next.
You're watching ASEAN Today. I'm Sarah Rabiatul Kamit in Bandar Seri Begawan.
And I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. ASEAN is heading on course to its planned integration in 2015. The ASEAN Economic Community is an ambitious undertaking, and several issues must be addressed along the way. I talked with ASEAN analyst DEWI ANWAR here in Jakarta.
China is regarded as a good, reliable partner for ASEAN, and in fact, ASEAN had been at the far front in trying to bring China into, the greater community. But you see, the problem is, we know for a fact that territorial issues are not going to be resolved easily, and it is not going to go away anytime soon. But the most important thing is that it's not to stir the pot, not to create real conflict in which military presence would increase. And if China were to create a situation in which member states within the region, the smaller countries within the region, are to feel really threatened by Chinese aggressive behavior, they would turn to other big powers. And here in this case, to Washington. And we know already that one of the reasons for the US rebalancing toward Asia is precisely this point of trying, as a response to the increasing concerns by countries in the region.
Tell me if you agree that the past 5 years of ASEAN were arguably the most productive in its history. If you believe that, what do you think was ASEAN's most visible success and its most glaring failure? Let's start with the positive.
With the positive, it's in the past 5 years, you're right, in 2008, if you remember, ASEAN actually agreed on a charter, which is the constitution for an ASEAN community. The fact that these 10 disparate countries, which in the past were not really interested in integrating, are now saying that we want to develop a more cohesive community with 3 pillars: political security, economic, social, cultural, with common values and real benchmarking for achievements. This is something that is quite remarkable. Gaps are still very real. The problems of ASEAN integration is not just about political will to integrate, but also real structural problems. The real differences in economic development, which makes cooperation still difficult even in the economic sector. The real difficulties of differences in our political systems and political values, which make creating a political security community very, very challenging.
Political prisoners are being released, sanctions globally are being lifted. What are your expectations for Myanmar going forward? It assumes the chairmanship next year of ASEAN. What do you see for them?
Myanmar has proven to be one of the brightest story within ASEAN. ASEAN somehow has been vindicated, that ASEAN's policy of engagement with Myanmar, rather than sanctioning and isolating Myanmar as many of our dialogue partners have wanted us to do, particularly from Europe and the United States, in fact have proven to be right. That by engaging Myanmar, by showing to Myanmar that by opening ourselves to the wider world, we can benefit. The benefit of economic engagement, also the benefit of political partnership with other countries.
Future of ASEAN, a bigger voice in global affairs, or just selective effectiveness?
It could aim high, but be realistic about it.
ANWAR also serves as an advisor to Indonesia's Vice President, Budiono. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
They're sisters of Japan's biggest pop group. We meet the ladies of JKT48 and their impact on loyal fans. This is ASEAN Today.
And this is your monthly look at the places and people of Southeast Asia. The success and popularity of the Japanese pop act AKB48 has led to the creation of sister groups in Shanghai, Taipei, and right here in Jakarta. And like the original, JKT48 has its own theater where fans line up to see J-pop translated into I-pop. ASEAN Today's Marissa Anita reports.
They work hard to be carbon copies of their namesake idols. JKT48 was formed 2 years ago in response to the regional craze for the original Japanese group. It's an official project of AKB48 producer Yasushi Akimoto, who saw the fan base in Southeast Asia's biggest country. Like their Tokyo sisters, the local members also have a dedicated theater in South Jakarta Mall.
JKT48 is very different because we grow up together with fans and we learn from zero. We learn everything here. We cannot sing at first, but here we can sing. We cannot dance and we can dance after join JKT48. Untuk saat ini kita masih menyanyikan lagu dari AKB48. Jadi tapi kita nggak tahu nih ke depannya, siapa tahu nanti kita punya lagu satu album. Jadi pokoknya JKT48 ini kan penuh rahasia. Jadi kita lihat aja nanti ke depannya gimana gitu.
They perform every weekend and occasionally on weekdays. Fans must book their tickets online first, then exchange them at the venue. Admission is 100,000 rupiah or $10 per show. Students get a special price of 50,000 rupiah.
Penampilannya bagus, mereka juga lucu-lucu, cantik-cantik. I watch the show for 15 times or more. The songs, the dancing, and the member also.
JKT48 is split in two performing teams, the first and second generation. The first generation consists of 23 members, 2 of them from the original AKB48. The second team is training to make the first generation. Members range in age of 13 to 21 years old.
JKT48 に来て言葉とかが通じなくてもどこまで自分は挑戦できるんだろうと思って新しい自分の第一歩として海外の JKT48 に移籍してみんなと頑張りたいなって思ったから移籍しました。
JKT48 just released their first album called Heavy Rotation, which was also the name of AKB48's first album. They sing AKB48 songs translated into Indonesian. Marissa Anita for ASEAN Today.
Here are several events on the ASEAN calendar. October 9th and 10th is when ASEAN members reconvene here in Brunei for a summit that will include major dialogue partners. Myanmar's Cane Ball Festival will be held at the Mahamuni Pagoda in Mandalay from May 13th to June 27. And in Thailand, the Samui Regatta Festival will set sail from May 25th to June 1st at Chaweng Beach in Surat Thani. Golfers now have a new destination to pack their clubs for. Since today, Andita Winda reports on Cambodia's growing attention to the sport.
The game of golf is relatively new in Cambodia, and like just about everything else in this rapidly developing nation, it's a hit. The Angkor Golf Resort is one of 3 18-hole courses located near the tourism hotspot of Siem Reap and the temples at Angkor.
10 years ago, there were no golf courses. 3 courses were built down in Phnom Penh, and Siem Reap we now have 3 international courses attracting Asian tour events, professional golf tournaments and corporate golf tournaments as well. So it's really become a leading light in Southeast Asia in golf tourism.
It opened for business in 2007. Golfers pay $115 a round to play. The course has a team of well-trained female caddies who are multilingual and very knowledgeable about the play of each hole.
It was a great course, wonderful caddies. It is a little hot.
I think Cambodia is a beautiful country. The people are so happy and pleasant and kind and gentle, and the golf course is not. But it's very challenging. Lots of water, many bunkers, but very beautiful and certainly of the quality of anything I would expect in the United States.
After a tough 18 holes, the clubhouse is a welcome oasis with its selection of cold drinks and hot meals. Tourism leaders are optimistic that sport and culture will bring more visitors to tee it up. Andita Winda for ASEAN Today.
We appreciate getting your feedback from throughout the ASEAN region, and joining us with this month's comments is Duradi Sidichanya of the ASEAN Secretariat. Dee, nice to see you.
Thank you, Dalton.
What are people saying this month?
Well, Dalton, our first comment today comes from Janice from Indonesia. She posted this on the ASEAN Today Facebook page. I love this TV program. It's good for children's knowledge. And the children are the future, as the song goes. Thank you, Janice. Lastria asked this on Twitter. Is there any vacancy at ASEAN for a fresh graduate? For job opportunities, check out the ASEAN website at asean.org and look under opportunities. Along the same line was Robert's tweet. Is there any ASEAN-India student exchange program in 2013? Under asean.org opportunities, you will also find information on internship and scholarship programs. Let us know what you're thinking. Please email us at aseantoday.tv@gmail.com. Post something on our Facebook page or tweet us at ASEANTodayTV.
All right, Dee, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yindi ka.
Sarah.
Thailand's traditional New Year festivities invites everybody to make a splash. Residents and tourists in Atuthia got wet with water shot from elephants to mark the 3-day Songkran festival that began April 12th. Residents also visit temples in the morning and pour water on Buddhist statues as a way to wash away bad luck and invite a new beginning. The annual water fund also comes at a good time, as April is the hottest month of the year in Thailand. And that's ASEAN Today for this month. I'm Sarah Rabiatul Kamit of the Brunei Times in Bandar Seri Begawan.
And I'm Dalton Tanonaka of Indonesia's Metro TV in Jakarta. Terima kasih, and see you again next month.